Hello everyone and welcome to day 19 of my Vita video every day in April. I'm KTH77, but you can call me Keith. And outside of my window is the eternal airplane. I waited a full minute for it to go away, and I could just still continuously hear that airplane noise, and I closed every window and stuff, and I could still faintly hear that stupid airplane. It's the eternal, undying, forever airplane that will never leave. I can still vaguely hear it. But anyways, I can't really think of anything that's not depressing to talk about. So I'm just gonna talk about robots. I freaking love robots. I don't know, just fictional stories about robots. They kind of cheat their way into being some of my favorites. And probably not the best thing to have shows and media be your favorite things because they feature just your favorite thing. Though I like to think that they also have decent qualities that also make them worthwhile despite just having robots in them. The show My Life as a Teenage Robot, for instance, has a really cool sort of retro art style to it and does some really cool stuff with colors that I like. When the mood of a scene shifts, the entire color palette shifts. So while the main character is typically blue and white, she can appear as to be green or even orange for a dramatic lighting in a scene. The entire scene's color palette shifts to that one color to really sell the mood of that moment. So it's way super wickedy awesome and stuff. That's a really cool show. WALL-E is awesome because of how the whole first half of that movie just has no dialogue and is super environmental in its storytelling, and it's super cool. But then when it goes on to the ship, it's also super cool because that environment is also super big on storytelling because of all the billboards and stuff. But also even there too, the color palette is since it's artificial, they can use the colors to tell the story, how everything becomes blue to show that you're a part of the machine. So then when the people who revert back to red, you can tell they've escaped all the distractions of the ship. They escaped all the distractions of the ship, and then it was green. That's when it's the end of the movie, and this is really cool. I really appreciate that in WALL-E. What else? Oh, like I mentioned, a huge fan of the Transformers franchise for years. Didn't watch the original G1 until later. My first foray into the show was Beast Wars, the series animated by the Mainframe guys behind Reboot and Shadow Raiders. But then watched Beast Machines, watched that Japanese Robots in Disguise series, followed by the Japanese series Transformers Armada, Transformers Energon, the Transformers Cybertron. My personal favorite, Transformers Animated, was so good. It was so good. All the characters were really interesting and cool, and world building and 2D animation, and it looked really nice. And I really liked that series. It was a good one. Then Transformers Prime, and then Transformers Robots in Disguise, again, but an American cartoon. And I think there's another series coming out which is even more kiddie-fied and stuff, and just what happened to the Transformers franchise? I say that, but you know what? Transformers Energon was a pretty low point in the franchise, and there was also Kiss players. So you know what? Things are not looking good at the moment. They'll get better. They'll either get better or Transformers will die, and I'll be bummed out. But you know what? It's a cartoon that's been running longer than I existed. If it needs to die, then I will hopefully just allow it to die and rest in peace, but it's not going to die. Hasbro will never let it die because they like money. That's why the My Little Pony show has been going on for like 8 seasons. They hit like a chord, and they're going to keep going forever and ever and ever. I hope when I normalize the audio on this, it'll like work out, because there's a lot of spiking and going down. It's going to be nutso-rama. What else? I really like Futurama. Bender's a pretty cool character. Oh no, the Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. That's a cartoon, man. You wouldn't think it would be that good, because it's like just like an animated series spin-off of the Buzz Lightyear character, but like the what if of what would be the show that the toy is based on. But it was actually a really good show. Like, it had some really good jokes that lasted, some decent like world building. It didn't have like overarching plots, but like it did have good continuity where stuff happened and like would remain in the series. And there was like some downright gorgeously animated episodes. I feel the 2 best animated episodes of that series is it is Lost in Time and Nosferatu 2. They were both animated by Disney Japan, and holy guacamole on toast, they are gorgeous. Those are gorgeous works of animations. But like also for most of the series, the writing was also pretty solid. XR, the robot from that character, he is essentially Bender, but without the smoking and drinking, so he could be on kids' TV. He still gambles, and he still is a womanizer, and he's also filled to the brim with guns. He is such a fun character, and a lot of his lines are still funny. Like they're like, I didn't quite get him as a kid, and now they're really funny. It's like, I've been binge watching that show lately, and it's been a real pleasure to revisit that series. What else? Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go, one of my favorite shows of all time. And it's a show that I'm not going to say it's the best show I've ever watched. It's my favorite, and I'm hesitant to recommend it to other people because they may not like it. I remember one person who was like watching it with me just spent the whole time complaining about every plot point and stuff, and it's like, yeah, it's probably not a show for everyone, but I adore it so much. It is so much fun, but then it has like legit story arcs and like cool stories, and like, such a cool show. They like go to space for like an entire season. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna lay you down like the premise of the show that I adore so much. So, a Sentai series like the Power Rangers, except instead of teens with attitude, it's one teen with attitude, but also a team of cyborg monkeys. And they pilot a giant robot. But instead of being like a bunch of vehicles that transform into a robot, it's a robot that transforms into a bunch of vehicles. So the robot just looks like a generic blocky robot, and their vehicles look really weird because of the original shapes they were before they transformed. And who are they fighting? A space lich. And this space lich flies around in a giant evil haunted Star Destroyer made out of like bone. And his goal is to release Cthulhu so that they may go and destroy all life in their and every parallel universe to them. It is amazing. Oh, I love that show so much. Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go, yes please. I would like some of that on toast. Oh man. And there's like so many more robots. Robot Boy, that's a show that I'm like, the first 2 seasons they ranged from decent to pretty good. They didn't have that much of like the annoying grossed out humor. They were like not bad. And then the 2nd and 3rd season where it slipped down to like total garbage, and the writing was, it's like, even like they had the stupid obnoxious gross out jokes, but the writing completely fell apart. Like, they just kind of became a series of events, and yeah. I'm not going to hold up the first 2 seasons like, oh man, this was like amazing television. Like, oh hey, there's some competent and there's a couple of pretty good episodes here. I'm not sure how I'd recommend them to people. I'm not sure they would appeal to anyone aside from like a child demographic, or a man-child demographic like me who likes robots a lot. But I would not recommend the second and third season to most sentient beings. Other robots that I enjoy. When I play Overwatch, I like to play Orisa and Bastion, I guess. There's not really a robot offense character, is there? Blizzard, get to do that. Make a robot character for offense, and you do have a robot medic, so that's good, I guess. But this has been 10 minutes. I'm sure there's like a million more robots I can name, but I don't want to keep stopping the recording so I can kind of think to myself about a robot, figure out a robot, then hit record again, talk about that robot, then pause again as I think of another robot. It's already been quite enough time, and what do I know? I'm just some guy who likes robots on the internet.